In our previous video, we have finished our practical task. Now, let's recap. We have finished the configuration of an EasyCall product, and we created a customer and an account under this customer. We made a payment, and we made a successful test call. Let's quickly summarize our steps. First of all, we learned the concept of customer and account in PortaBilling. Customer is the one who signs the contract and pays for the service. Accounts are dependent entities that only exist under a customer and allow the customer to use the service. For our practical task, we created a customer test easy call, topped up their balance, and created an account under this customer. We used the PortaSIP account to make a number of calls. We also learned about destinations, rates, and tariffs. A destination, also called prefix, is the left part of a phone number and normally consists of a country code followed by an area code. It is used to describe a group of phone numbers that start with the same prefix. When we made our test call to Spain, we used a prefix 34. A rate is the price the customer is charged to call a specific destination. Rates are added to tariffs, and tariff is a price list for all destinations that a customer can call. Also, in the scope of our practical task, we created a tariff called Easy Call Demo and added a number of rates to it. When we made an attempt to call a US number, the call wasn't authorized because there is no rate to the US in our tariff. We have also discussed the concept of a product. A product is an entity that groups together different services or service features that we sell to customers. Let's take another look at the product we've created for our practical task. We go to Service Catalog, Products, type in the product name. It was Easy Call Demo. Here we go. It is a rather simple product. It only includes voice calls, and these calls are charged using our Easy Call Demo tariff. In the future, we can expand this product by adding subscriptions, discounts, or even other services to it. Then we discussed how online payment processors work and configured a new payment system in PortaBilling based on a Canadian online payment processor called Moneris. Then we allowed payments by Amex, MasterCard, and Visa and linked the new payment system to US dollars in currency management. This way, all payments in US dollars are processed by Moneris. Then we successfully made an online payment. Payment records are stored in xDRs under our customer. We need to go to xDRs, choose the service payments, and choose a start date as well. Let's choose January 1st, for example. Here we see that we made two payments, a manual payment and a credit card payment. When our test calls didn't go through due to different reasons, we heard PortaSIP error announcements. Our first call wasn't authorized due to insufficient funds, and the second call to the US wasn't covered by our tariff plan. When PortaSIP receives a call request and detects an error, the system plays a voice error announcement. That is a big time saver. First of all, for the end user, whose time does it help save? The end user's time, of course, because they get an idea about what caused the problem and can either try to solve it themselves or contact support about it. It also helps save CSP's engineers' time and Porta One support engineers' time in case the problem gets escalated further. If voice error announcements are not enough to understand the origin of the issue, we also learned how to work with logs. PortaBilling and PortaSIP logs are available on our web interface in Toolbox Trace Session. Let's list all sessions for our test customer test SIP. We just type it in here, test SIP. Okay. Let's open the details for the failed call to the US. By default, we see a simplified interaction scheme between our soft phone and PortaSwitch, but we can also turn on the advanced view for further details. Let's do it. The advanced view is the toggle here. Now we can see both PortaSIP and PortaBilling logs. Let's check the PortaBilling log. We see that the request was sent and the authorization was rejected due to unmatched destination. We were able to quickly understand what happened using only our web interface. These logs can also be saved and forwarded to your colleagues or customers to provide explanation for errors. This is quite convenient. We also viewed the e-payments log. The e-payments log is the list of all online transactions. We can check the log for the entire PortaBilling system in financial e-payments. This is a log. We just need to set the date from and click OK. Apply filters. Test easy call. This is our successful payment. But we can also check the e-payments log for a specific customer. If we don't need all the payments that were processed in the system, we go to our bookmarked customer test easy call, and then we go to finances, e-payments, choose a from date, and click apply filters. And then we see the e-payments only for our customer in question. And finally, we used the XDR browser to check the charge and payment history. XDR browser allows us to see the list of all transactions for a specific customer. We go to our test customer, xDRs. This opens our XDR browser. The service selected by default is voice calls. We can choose other services in the dropdown, for example, payments, and set a from date as well. Okay. Apply filters. Here we have the XDRs for our calls. If we scroll to the right, we can view more details about charges for our calls. If we, for some reason, didn't fully understand why we were charged 4 cents for this call, we can see the rating formula that was applied to it. You can also get additional details from the PortaBilling log. And now we're done. This is it for the basic residential VoIP scenario. Check out our chapter on advanced residential VoIP scenario to learn about destination group sets, volume discount plans, and subscriptions. We walk you through a step-by-step configuration as well. Thanks for watching.